They call themselves the Dragon Shadow. 20,000 members, 30 active cells, operating in every major city across the globe. But that's just one organization. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the most terrifying criminal empires you've never heard of. Organizations so powerful, they make the Italian mafia look like street corner dealers. From the blood-soaked streets of Hong Kong to the underground tunnels of New York's Chinatown. From the synthetic drug labs hidden in the Golden Triangle to the money laundering operations that fuel Canada's fentanyl crisis. These aren't just gangs, they're shadow governments. And their reach extends far beyond what law enforcement wants you to know. What I'm about to tell you isn't speculation. It's not Hollywood fiction. Every fact, every operation, every blood-chilling detail comes directly from FBI intelligence reports, international law enforcement databases, and testimonies from those brave enough to speak. But here's what they don't want you to know. While politicians debate border security and drug policy, these organizations have already won. They've infiltrated legitimate businesses, corrupted government officials, and built criminal empires that generate more revenue than most countries' GDP. And the scariest part? Most people have no idea they exist. Tonight, we're going inside. We're exposing the truth about the 14K Triad, the Yakuza's modern evolution, the Big Circle Gang's global drug empire, and criminal organizations so violent, so sophisticated, that even hardened law enforcement officers refuse to speak about them on record. Segment 1. The Dragon's Shadow. Let's start with the most powerful, the 14K Triad. If you've never heard that name, there's a reason. They prefer it that way. Picture this. It's 2:30 a.m. in Hong Kong's financial district. The streets are empty, but in a nondescript office building, men in expensive suits are moving millions of dollars with nothing more than encrypted phone calls. No banks, no paper trails, just a network so sophisticated that it makes international banking look primitive. This is the 14K Triad. 20,000 members, operating in over 30 countries, and they've been perfecting their craft for over 80 years. But here's where it gets terrifying. The 14K didn't just adapt to the modern world, they helped create it. In the 1970s, while American law enforcement was focused on the Italian mafia, the 14K was quietly building the infrastructure for what would become the global synthetic drug trade. They established relationships with indigenous militias in Southeast Asia's Golden Triangle. They created smuggling routes that are still used today, and they did something no other criminal organization had ever attempted. They went legitimate. Today, 14K operations are hidden inside construction companies, real estate firms, and shipping corporations. They exploit Hong Kong's position as a global commerce hub to move everything from precursor chemicals to human trafficking victims. And their partnerships with Latin American cartels have created a drug distribution network that spans 3 continents. But that's not the scariest part. The scariest part is what happened when law enforcement tried to stop them. In 2020, the United States government took the unprecedented step of sanctioning Wan Kwok Koi, a 14K leader. Not arresting, sanctioning, like he was a foreign government. Think about that. The most powerful country in the world treated a gang leader like a head of state. Because that's essentially what he was. And Wan Kwok Koi, he's just one leader in one subgroup of one organization. But if you think the 14K is scary, wait until you hear about what's happening in Japan. Segment 2. The evolution of fear. Modern Yakuza. The Yakuza. You think you know them. Honor codes, ritual suicide, traditional tattoos covering every inch of skin. Forget everything you think you know. The modern Yakuza isn't your grandfather's organized crime. They've evolved, and that evolution is absolutely terrifying. Here's what's really happening in Japan right now. While the world focused on their declining membership numbers, the Yakuza quietly became the most sophisticated cybercriminal organization on the planet. They're not just running protection rackets anymore. They're manipulating stock markets, orchestrating ransomware attacks, and laundering cryptocurrency on a scale that makes traditional money laundering look like a lemonade stand. But here's the part that should keep you awake at night. They're working with the Triads. In 2025, Japanese police discovered something that sent shockwaves through international law enforcement. Video footage of Yakuza members participating in ritual ceremonies with confirmed 14K Triad leaders. Not business meetings, ritual ceremonies. This wasn't just cooperation, this was integration. The 2 most powerful Asian criminal organizations were becoming one. And their first joint operation? Cryptocurrency laundering for North Korean weapons programs. Think about the implications. North Korea's nuclear program, funded by criminal organizations that operate in every major financial center in the world. Money flowing through legitimate businesses, cryptocurrency exchanges, and real estate markets that you interact with every day. But the Yakuza Triad alliance isn't the most dangerous development in Asian organized crime. That distinction belongs to a group so violent, so unpredictable, that even other criminal organizations refuse to work with them. They're called the Big Circle Gang, and their story will make you question everything you thought you knew about organized crime. Segment 3, The Untouchables, Big Circle Gang. Even the name sounds different, doesn't it? Not as formal as Triad, not as traditional as Yakuza. And there's a reason for that. The Big Circle Gang doesn't follow rules. They don't have honor codes. They don't care about tradition or respect or any of the things that constrain other criminal organizations. They have one goal: profit, and they'll do absolutely anything to achieve it. Here's how they started. In the late 1960s, during China's Cultural Revolution, political prisoners were sent to labor camps. These weren't ordinary criminals. These were intellectuals, professionals, people who understood how systems worked, and in those camps, they formed bonds that would eventually reshape global organized crime. When they were released, they didn't go home. They went to Hong Kong, and they brought with them something no criminal organization had ever possessed: systematic thinking. The Big Circle Gang doesn't just commit crimes, they engineer them. Take Seichi Lop, a Canadian citizen who built not one, but two of the largest drug smuggling operations in human history. His network moved methamphetamines from Myanmar to Australia, heroin from Afghanistan to North America, and fentanyl precursors from China to Mexico. But here's what makes him different from every other drug lord you've ever heard of. He never touched the drugs, never met the suppliers, never handled the money. He built a system so sophisticated that he could orchestrate billion-dollar drug operations from a coffee shop in Amsterdam, and law enforcement couldn't prove he was involved. That's the Big Circle Gang difference. They don't just break the law, they rewrite it. And their latest innovation is the most terrifying yet. They're franchising. Big Circle Gang cells are now operating independently in Toronto, Vancouver, Sydney, and Los Angeles. Each cell uses the same methods, the same contacts, the same systematic approach, but they're not controlled by a central authority, which means law enforcement can't cut off the head to kill the snake, because there is no head. But if you think the Big Circle Gang represents the future of Asian organized crime, you're wrong. Segment 4, The Next Generation, Vietnamese and Korean Networks. The future is already here, and it's more terrifying than anything we've discussed so far. Meet the next generation of Asian organized crime. Vietnamese networks that make the Big Circle Gang look conservative. Korean organizations that have weaponized their country's technological advancement, and hybrid groups that don't fit any traditional category. Let's start with the Vietnamese networks. Born to Kill. The name alone should tell you everything you need to know. This organization emerged from the chaos of the Vietnam War, formed by refugees who had lost everything and had nothing left to lose. But Born to Kill isn't just another street gang. They're the criminal organization that figured out how to monetize trauma. Their recruitment strategy is unlike anything law enforcement has ever encountered. They specifically target young Vietnamese immigrants who are struggling to adapt to American society. They provide community, identity, and purpose. And then they turn that loyalty into a weapon. Born to Kill members don't just commit crimes for money. They commit crimes to prove their worth to a surrogate family that understands their pain, which makes them exponentially more dangerous than criminals who are just motivated by profit. But the Vietnamese networks pale in comparison to what's happening in Korea. Korean organized crime has done something unprecedented. They've industrialized violence. The Chijon family. On the surface, they look like a typical criminal organization. Extortion, kidnapping, murder for hire. But investigators discovered something that changed everything. They had built a murder factory, not a metaphor, an actual facility designed specifically for killing people efficiently and disposing of the evidence, complete with specialized equipment, standardized procedures, and quality control measures. This wasn't crime, this was manufacturing, and it represented a fundamental shift in how criminal organizations operate. But even the murder factory isn't the most disturbing development in modern Asian organized crime. Segment 5, The Shadow Economy, What I'm about to tell you will change how you see the world around you. Every criminal organization we've discussed tonight has one thing in common. They're not just breaking the law, they're building an alternative economy. Think about it. The 14K Triad moves money without banks. The Yakuza manipulates markets without regulation. The Big Circle Gang distributes products without traditional supply chains. Vietnamese and Korean networks provide services that governments can't or won't provide. They're not parasites feeding off the legitimate economy. They are an economy. And here's the terrifying part. It's bigger than the legitimate economy. Conservative estimates suggest that Asian organized crime generates over $500 billion annually. That's more than the GDP of most countries. And that money doesn't just disappear, it gets invested. In real estate, technology companies, cryptocurrency, legitimate businesses. Your apartment building might be owned by a shell company controlled by the 14K Triad. Your favorite restaurant might be laundering money for the Yakuza. The cryptocurrency exchange you use might be processing transactions for the Big Circle Gang. And you would never know. But the shadow economy isn't just about money, it's about power. These organizations don't just influence markets, they influence governments. In some regions, they become so powerful that elected officials have to negotiate with them like foreign governments. As traditional governments struggle with globalization, technological change, and social unrest, criminal organizations are filling the void. They're providing stability, services, and solutions that legitimate institutions can't match. Which brings us to the most terrifying question of all. What happens when the shadow economy becomes the real economy? Segment 6, the future of fear. We're not just looking at the future of organized crime. We're looking at the future of civilization, because these organizations aren't just adapting to change, they're driving it. The 14K Triad's cryptocurrency operations are pioneering financial technologies that will eventually be adopted by legitimate banks. The Yakuza's cybercrime innovations are advancing artificial intelligence and machine learning. The Big Circle Gang's systematic approach to crime is influencing how legitimate businesses operate. They're not just criminals, they're innovators. And their innovations are reshaping society in ways that most people don't understand. Take money laundering through real estate. This started as a criminal innovation. Now it's so common that it's driving housing prices in major cities around the world. Ordinary families can't afford homes because criminal organizations are using real estate as a financial instrument. Or consider the fentanyl crisis. This isn't just a public health emergency. It's the result of Asian criminal organizations perfecting the art of synthetic drug production and distribution. They've created a product so potent, so addictive, and so profitable that it's literally reshaping American society. But the most terrifying development is what's happening with artificial intelligence and surveillance technology. These organizations are using AI to identify potential recruits, predict law enforcement operations, and optimize criminal activities. They're building surveillance networks that rival government intelligence agencies, and they're sharing this technology with each other. The future isn't just about individual criminal organizations. It's about a global criminal network that's more sophisticated, more powerful, and more influential than any government. So what does this mean for you? It means that the world is more dangerous and more complex than you've been told. It means that criminal organizations are shaping your daily life in ways you don't realize. And it means that traditional approaches to law enforcement and crime prevention are fundamentally inadequate. But it also means that knowledge is power. By understanding how these organizations operate, you can protect yourself and your family. You can make informed decisions about where you live, where you invest, and how you interact with the global economy. And you can demand better from your elected officials. Because the only way to combat this threat is through international cooperation, technological innovation, and a fundamental rethinking of how we approach organized crime. The shadow war is real, the stakes are higher than you imagine, and the outcome will determine the future of civilization. The question is, are you ready to face the truth? If this video opened your eyes to a reality you never knew existed, hit that subscribe button, because this is just the beginning. We're going deeper into the shadow world, exposing the truth that others are afraid to tell. And remember, in the shadow war, ignorance isn't bliss, it's surrender.